What's up guys, MrVerry aka Adronus here, and today I am bringing you a video of Drafia. And Drafia consists of demon skeletons, necromancers, and grim reapers, and also the Medusa Shield Quest for level 60s. And a Wyrm spawn. If I left anything out, you will see it because I'm gonna be doing a tour of Drafia. So here is to the southeast. I just killed that triple necromancer spawn, and there's a bunch of demon skeletons here as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and they actually added a necromancer down here. There never used to. Wow, they added two. There never used to be two necromancers here, so for you new players who didn't know that, you're lucky because this spawn is actually pretty small and really isn't too frequently hunted, especially since the release of Yalahar, because there's so many necromancers in the magician quarter that why come here? And missed that. Oh, that was bad. Alright, green mushroom. Nothing too impressive yet. And I will show you the room to the left here, which has some more necromancers. There's also more necromancers to the north, but that is not where we are going right this second. First, I'm going to show you Vampire Hell, which occasionally has a boss. I've actually fought the boss before. And I will also show you the Grim Reapers. There was also only used to be 3 necromancers right here, and now you can see there's 4. So there's a total of like 9 in the south spawn, and there's 4 in the northwest spawn, which I'll show later. First, we're gonna drop down, and it looks like someone is there's a letter here, but the Grim Reaper spawned, so I'm gonna go ahead and assume that no one is hunting here. Let's see, Elia. Alright, we're gonna Exiva him just to confirm that. Not online. Alright, well guess what? I'm here. Alright. So, now Grim Reapers are equally weak to both fire and energy, so either way. I did make a mistake though. I need to pop on some equipment before I really feel comfortable hunting them, so alright, now just bringing them down. Alright, there's another one coming, so in order to avoid taking a huge amount of damage, I'm just gonna stand right by this one and try to finish him off as quick as possible here. Alright, that one's down. The main thing to remember with Grim Reapers is to avoid getting right in front of them, because they do have a pretty vicious beam that does death damage. As you can see, he just nailed me with one of them, and it did a good chunk to me. So if you don't have as much health as me, then, or even if you have more, you can appreciate how much damage they deal. It's quite a bit. Sipsoft just recently increased the size of this spawn too, so I'm gonna show which area was recently added, and I believe they added like a total of I don't know, 3 Grim Reapers or something. So I will show the full spawn and hopefully get some loot doing so. We will see. And like I said, they're weak to both fire and energy. No tricks here, just using fire and energy to bring them down, using the wall to avoid him getting close, as well as trying to avoid getting in the way of his blood beam, which is his most powerful attack next to his melee. And those are 2 pretty important things to remember if you ever intend on hunting Grims. So keep that in mind. Alright, well. Onward we go. I think this is the one that just came down, so I'm not too worried about that. And this one, this is a single spawn down here. And once he dies, I will show the south end of the cave. Let's get a Nightmare Blade. How about some Skullcracker armor? Probably not. Grims, while they are really, really, really good experience, they have a really low chance of dropping any loot worth actually killing them. While they do drop Nightmare Blades, which are worth 35k, and Skullcracker armors and stuff, they don't drop them commonly. It's a pretty rare drop. The thing you're going to get the most that's actually going to be worth any money is their demonic essences, and of course the concentrated demonic bloods. I'm going to put up a firewall to... Ooh, I missed. Alright, this is a little tricky. Put up an energy wall, so as you can see now that one Grim is not trying to chase me. And if I hadn't, I would have 2 on me right now, and if I had 2, it would be a little more bloody and a lot less comfortable for me. Now, using walls when you're hunting is highly advantageous. As you can see, I easily separated the Grims and made it so it turned from fighting 2 Grims to 1, which can mean the difference between life and death for a lot of you. So it's good to figure out what creatures will run through what elements. Now, even some creatures that are strong to certain elements will not run through the wall, and then others that can take the full amount of damage will run right through it. So you just kind of have to test different walls and figure out what works with what. For instance, with behemoths, although they're strong to both energy and fire, they won't run through energy, but they will run through fire. And that's just one example. Now, like I said, it's different for every creature, so you have to keep that in mind. And the best way to figure it out for yourself is to test it. I think Wiki actually has a category called walks through on a lot of their creatures, which tells you what elements they will walk right through and what elements they will go around. So that's nice. And using walls is how I was able to hunt behemoths at like level 130 and get like, you know, 2 or 3 on me and not feel unsafe, because the wall's there, only 1 can really get to you at a time that way, even with 3 on you. And you know, if you want to put the wall near the stairs just in case they do get on you, then you can do that. Alright, so moving forward. Now the area straight west of here was all added, I believe. I think this was the end of Grimm's right here. If you hadn't been here before the update where this was expanded, which, if I'm not mistaken, was the most recent update. Ooh, see, that is why you want to avoid getting in front of Grims, because when they combo their Blood Beam with a nice hit of melee, it can easily combo for sometimes a fatal amount of damage. Now I'm going to separate the Grims, like I did earlier. See, planted an energy wall, and instantly he's on the other side, and I am safely fighting 1 Grim Reaper at a time still. So always keep up on those energy walls and firewalls and stuff, guys. You don't want to die just because you got more than 1 of a certain creature on you. So, I mean, I could be using more walls right now just to run the creature, but since I have 20% death protection and I take out Grims fairly fast, I don't really see the point in wasting walls. So this one's almost down. And I'm not going to go kill the one near the wall immediately because that's just back spawn anyway. So I'm going to explore the entire cave first, and that energy wall, as you can see, kept him at bay while I continue my tour here. Ooh, that was his, he's got like a blood or strike explosion around him. Yeah, it's a blood explosion around him. And he also has an explosion wave, which is physical damage. So he does have both physical and death attacks, and that's good to keep in mind in case you're trying to get equipment to make it so he can't hit you as well. Because you can see I wear Koshi's Ancient Amulet for 8% protection to death, and the Robe of the Underworld for 12% protection to death, which is sorcerer-only equipment. The robe is. The Koshi's Amulet can be worn by any vocation, so any vocation watching this, if you want to take 8% less death damage, get Koshi's Amulet. And you can get that through a level 40 quest. It's actually the blue legs quest, and you can just keep the amulet instead of getting the legs. And in the long run, I would definitely argue that the amulet is more valuable than the legs. For PvP, for hunting, it's all around a better item. And I'd say it's more sought after too, especially by higher levels. But just a note, I mean, if you want to get your 5k back, which you have to spend to get the blue legs, you do have to get the blue legs. And I understand that certain lower levels might not have the money to just not get their 5k back. That might put them in the hole to the point where, oh shit, they can't get the proper supplies and stuff. So it varies person to person, like most things do. And this is the last Grim, at least of the area. So here's the full Drafia Grims area. And now I'm going to be doing Vampire Hell, which was the left way down instead of going to the right. But first, we're going to have to deal with some backspawn. So we'll take out these Grims. Hopefully I'll get something nice. Hopefully. I love how much damage I deal to Grims. This is definitely, Grims are easiest for sorcerers and paladins, because paladins have holy and Grims aren't incredibly strong to physical, and sorcerers have fire and energy, which they are extremely weak to. A Nightmare Blade, hell yeah guys, very nice. That's quite a lucky drop considering how many I've killed. So 35k, nice, profiting well already. Keep this up. And hopefully I find either Necroferus in the Medusa Shield room, or I get the Vampire Lord boss in the Vampire Hell. For recording's sake, I would love to get a boss on cam other than Ron the Ripper. I was really happy to even get that boss on cam though, so I would like to get more because I think that videos with bosses are some of the coolest, since bosses aren't a regular spawn. You know, it's not a creature that you're always going to run into. You may never see that creature, even if you've been to the area where it occasionally spawns 100 times. Okay, so Vampire Hell is actually a good area to hunt for lower levels. Not lower, but I would say between 60 and 100. And then, of course, if the necromancers are clear too, that's good, because after you clear the spawn, if it's not spawning quick enough, I don't know how quick it spawns now. I don't know if it's going to be fast enough for someone of that level to clear and then keep hunting. But back when I hunted it, back in my day, I usually had to wait for spawns, and you know, you don't want to have to wait for spawn. That kind of ruins your experience per hour a little bit. So I'm gonna wait for this vampire to become skinnable with the blessed steak. Alright, nope, no luck. And moving forward, I'm also going to throw my Wand of Everblazing on just in case, and just so that, you know, I can take out the vampires better, considering they are weakest to fire. And lure a bunch of these. There's stalkers here, demon skeletons, mummies, and of course it wouldn't be called vampire hell if there weren't vampires, right? So getting ready for the vampires to be skinnable. Oops. And the boss normally spawns a little bit to the north, I think. I'm hoping he's here. I have fought him before. His name is Erichir, the Ancient One. But it looks like he's not here. If he was, we would see some Lich summons. Alright. And here's the last. And that vamp is trying to get away, but he's not going to be successful. And let's check the bodies for loot. Gauze bandage. It's not really worth much, but I always take creature products because as geeky as it is, I have like backpacks separated for each NPC that they're sold to. So it makes it really easy to see, okay, well, I've got over 100+ items to sell to this NPC, whether it be like, you know, 15 dragon tails and like 20 elder beholder, or elder bone lord, excuse me, they changed it, tentacles, and then, you know, I know that I have enough to make it worth a trip. So that's Vampire Hell. Like I said, it's decently small, but there is a shitload of vampires, and it's definitely a good hunting area for lower levels, so I wanted to show it. Unfortunately, the boss has decided I'm not worthy this time, so I'm going to show the northern necromancers and the quests next. And after that, I will go into Wyrms. Now, I'm assuming someone is there because usually there's a botter at this Wyrm spawn. And it's going to be like that on most worlds because it is one of the biggest Wyrm spawns in Tibia, which is another little fun fact for you. And I would also dare to argue it's, at least for lower levels, it's not really well known about because unless you can get through the Necromancer quest solo, which isn't really easy until you're a decent level, and even then it's easiest for sorcerers and druids, simply because we're the masters of AoEs. So alright, I'm gonna take that ancient shield. I've got green gin and that's 1k, and I've got cap, so why wouldn't I? And didn't mean to target him, but hey. And I'm avalanching, so I can actually deal damage to the demon skeletons, and necromancers don't really have a hell of a resistance to it, so alright. Now, where I just clicked is where the north necromancer spawn is, and I will show that. Also, another thing I forgot to mention, for those of you who have obtained reigns, who've been lucky enough to obtain the reigns, you may be wondering where a good spot to find black sheep is. And that would be the northeast of here. So I will also be showing that. But before I do that, I am going to take out these necromancers and switch my equipment. Alrighty. Nothing too great yet. I mean, the Nightmare Blade is actually a really nice item, so I am happy with that. And taking out this neck. There used to only be 3 in the northwest spawn too, so I think they've added... Oh! there's necromancers to the northeast now. That's cool. There was actually necromancers didn't used to spawn up here. Oh, and a priestess spawns up here. Wow, they actually expanded this spawn quite a bit. Well, I'm glad I came up this way so I can show you guys this. Now, here's the black sheeps I talked about. This used to just strictly be black sheep, and it did not have the priestesses or the necromancers here, so that's really cool. They did a good job expanding this spawn and actually making it more appealing to hunt in, because like I said, once they added the Alahar Magician Quarter, you know, everyone saw this spawn and was like, well, what the hell, why would we hunt here when there's obviously a much better spawn? So, no hailstorm rods, the priestesses hate me. So like I said, if you have reins and you're looking to get a black sheep mount, this is a good spot to do it. There's, let's see, like 6 black sheep or something. So I'm going to steal their meat and run off. Now that I've showed the main areas that I wanted to, I've got one area left to show, which is the Medusa Shield Quest. And this is just a large pentagram. Now, I don't have the southwest side mapped, but this spot is filled with ghouls, mummies, stalkers, and demon skeletons. This is actually a pretty popular area for lower level paladins to hunt, and you can see why. I mean, the only thing that most paladins wouldn't really want to deal with is the ghosts, and since they have holy magic now, it doesn't really matter. Alright, Gate of Expertise for level 60, so let's go. And I like to get myself surrounded in here. I'm going to use Rage of the Skies here shortly, but first I want to make sure that I have as many of them within range of me as possible. So I'm dropping it, bam, and did a significant amount of damage to most of them. Now just cleaning up the room. And normally gems spawn on each of these sacrificial stones, and that is a good indicator that someone is most likely at Wyrm's or has already been through the area, because if they hadn't, it would all be there still. So just finishing cleaning up the spawn. And here is where the quest is. As you can see, for me it's empty, but you know, for all you out there who haven't done it, it obviously won't be. I believe you get a Medusa shield, a blue robe, and I want to say a skull staff, but I might be wrong, so don't quote me on that. If you're curious, look it up on tibia.wiki.com. Gonna push the bodies so that I don't check the same one 3 times. And looks like they didn't feel like giving me much so far, but yeah, wow. They really did not like me this time around. Usually when I clear this room, I end up getting at least a small thing, whether it be a hailstorm rod. Oh, vampire dust. Okay. I'm content. And potting up. Lost a little bit of mana there. The priestesses were really stealing it. I actually should have put my protection to mana drain legs on, but I just didn't think about it. Which are the ornate legs, if you're curious as to what legs those are. They are for sorcerers and druids of level 130 or higher and give you protection to mana drain, 15% and armor 8. Now, here's the Wyrms. And someone is here, so I'm not going to piss them off, but I will run around the spawn real quick and show you where a single Grim Reaper is. And hopefully I'll avoid this person down here in the meantime. I'm not going to kill any of his Wyrms because I don't want to piss him off, so I'm just going to run around all of them. And normally I would just avalanche them down anyway, so you're not really missing out on too much. I mean, I could loot a Focus Cape or a Wand of Starstorm, but whatever. So you can see there's a ton of upstairs too to kill them. And like I said, this is one of the larger spawns of worms, and that would make sense as to why it's always camped. So here, the downstairs coffin is where the Grim Reaper is. And this is a single spawn. This is actually where I first soloed a Grim Reaper on Adronus, because I knew it was a single spawn and didn't have the fear of getting more than one on me. And it's a cool little room. It's got the stone in the back. It's just single one. Most people hunting worms aren't really gonna want to just pop down and fight a Grim Reaper, but to each their own, and whatever, Sipsoft. I still think it's cool they put it in. It's just, you know, for an inexperienced player or someone who hasn't hunted here, they might trip down the stairs and get hurt. But I'm gonna end the tour here. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave me a comment, a like, or subscribe, or all of them, whatever. Thanks. Hope you enjoyed.